Hi, this is Benj Arriola here at Internet Marketing Inc. First of all, I would like to apologize. It took me a while to actually finish this whole presentation. I did it at last minute. There was many tasks at work that I had to complete. I was not able to give this in a timely fashion. I will upload it on YouTube so that everyone could see it. Now, another thing is I know that this is for SE Organization Philippines. I've spoken at several MORCon events in the Philippines. I normally present in a Taglish fashion, Tagalog in English. I feel that I could really drive a point also a lot more better if I speak in Tagalog. Unfortunately, it has always been a struggle for me to re-edit the videos so that I could share them online to an international audience. So for now, I will try to keep it as much as possible all in English. If ever I feel I really need to drive a point in Tagalog, I will use it. I might just edit the video when I do share it online later on. So my topic is Google knows quality content. Originally, I wanted to come up with a title that says something like things that you should no longer be doing, or obsolete SEO techniques, things that are wrong. But in the interest of time and the limitations, I planned on coming up with examples. I was not able to come up with some. I already have some prepared slides from previous 3 or 4 presentations. I just mashed them all up into this presentation. It made me finish this in about 40 minutes. So it's no longer the same title, but while I'm presenting this, I'm going to show you you're still going to learn the things that you should no longer be doing just by understanding how Google looks at your content and knows that it is good quality. Okay? So before we continue, probably many of you already know who I am, but there's always newbies all the time. There's a new wave of SEOs that are coming out. So still start out with an introduction. Who am I? So I did SEO since 2004. I designed and developed websites in 1997, and that was in my own company in the Philippines before. And then I won multiple SEO contests. You could see there that is listed from 2005 to 2009. Most of them were cash prizes, but there was one that gave a brand new car, and that was the SEO World Championship in 2007. So that was good. It opened new doors for me. Aside from getting a new car, it even opened a new deal with the car dealership, where I was able to do SEO for the car dealer, where I received the car as a prize. Okay, so aside from all the contests that I've joined and all the winnings, I also speak at several conferences. I've spoken in 14 different cities in 3 different countries. Some of the logos are there. You may recognize some of them. Probably some of the popular prestigious SEO conferences out there is the Search Marketing Expo, or SMX. I also have PubCon on that list, Online Marketing Summit, and all the rest. Several of the ones that happen in the Philippines are the 3 logos down below. The ones on the lower left, on the last row, starting from the left, the first BPO and Virtual Assistance Conference. There's also the SEMCon and MORCon. Each of these conferences, have a different theme or different strengths and whatnot. One that is not listed there, because I'm using an old slide, was SEO Hackers SEO Summit. That was also a great conference. Okay. So aside from winning contests and speaking, I've also had experience working with several top brands, but that doesn't mean all my experience is all in a big environment. I've also worked as a freelancer where there were projects that were outsourced to me. Some of them are universities in the US where it was outsourced from an agency. Some of them asked for some training where I went to the agency and kind of trained them on SEO. Now, the reason why I'm saying this, I might say some examples wherein you feel, oh, my situation is totally different. I don't work in an agency. I just want to let you know that yes, I worked as a freelancer before. I've also worked in a small business, in my own small business, where I had my own small business clients. And also I've worked in different agencies where most of my experience with very large brands, very popular brands, have come from. Okay, some of these brands here came from the previous agency where I work with. Some of them came from the agency where I currently work with. Okay, so before I start out talking about what is quality content, let's talk about what quality content is not. Okay, so some of you may be starting out with SEO, you're trying to learn, you got outsourced a task on Odes or Freelancer or something, you're asked to do some stuff, and unfortunately there are some people that are going to ask for some task that specifically tells you to make content that is not good quality. They're specifically telling you to do things that does not really help out in SEO, especially how SEO is done today. So a few things, some people say quality content, it's about the number of words has to be 200 minimum. Some say it's 300, 400, 500 words, not necessarily keywords. I really meant words there. 200 words, 300 words, 400 words, whatever number of words. Now, that is not the case. Quality content is not dictated by the number of words. There are some pages that have few words, there are some pages that have more words. But if your content is thin, wherein it can't really express what the need of the user is, it's totally not useful, and it's a few amount of words, maybe you have to expand on it more. Often quality content has more words, but the word count alone does not dictate if it's good quality or not. Now, is quality content about grammar and spelling? Now, I've seen websites rank so high, get so much traffic, and there's something that's said incorrectly, the grammar is wrong, the spelling is wrong, it still ranks high. Although, it would perform better if the grammar is correct, if the spelling is correct. Often, quality content has good grammar and spelling, but those two quality content is not dependent on those alone. It helps out, although that is not what really dictates how Google considers quality content, because Google may rank something with wrong spellings and it still ranks high. Okay? Now, for Google, what is quality content? Is it the high search volume keywords? Keywords that give you large search volumes in keyword research tools? We want to use them. They would definitely help out in your rankings. They would definitely help out in your incoming organic traffic. But that again does not dictate quality content. You could use keywords with high search volume, but still get banned. So okay, you or penalized or whatnot. That does not dictate what quality content is. Okay, now, is it really about keyword density, keyword frequency, or keyword count? How many times you actually use your keyword? How many times you stick it in there? How many times you stuff it? You put in the title tag, the heading tag, first paragraph, second paragraph, all the way to the end. You totally redundant. You say things over and over, and you calculate the density and stuff like that. Well, if you're really passionate about a certain topic and you're talking about it, there's really a high probability of you repeating the phrase several times. But there's no magic formula. That means if you use it 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, or a density of 10%, 5%, 3%, that's what dictates quality content. No, even if you search a certain keyword, plug it in Google, Yahoo, Bing, or whatnot, look at the results and look at the keyword densities of each one. They're all over the place. Some are low, some are high, and yet Google just ranks them. Okay, so what really is quality content? So when we talk about quality content, how I would define it is it engage your users. It makes your users actually read more, stay on the page more. Uh, they may want to interact. They might want to talk to you, speak to you, place a comment. And aside from that, it gets naturally shared because people like the content so much, they would want to promote it online. They would want to share it on Facebook, like it, tweet it, stumble it, pin it, vote for it, or do anything just to share it, even just sharing it with the person right beside you, on your left, on your right. You saw it on your phone. Hey, look at this. That already shows that the content is really good. The moment the person is compelled to share it to the person nearest to them, chatting to them, emailing it, or talking over it over dinner, over bedtime. Have you seen the video about whatever, whatever? Oh, that was great. That is already a sign that the content is pretty good because people want to talk about it. So it gets shared naturally. Now, if you write an article, you felt it was good quality content, just think of those two things. Are people actually interacting? Are people actually staying? And are people actually talking about it and sharing it to their friends? Okay? Now, some people may try to fake it by buying likes here and there, asking their friends to do this and that, but Google could still figure that out. And I will go through that in some of the other slides. So, how can Google actually measure if content quality is good? Okay? Because quality is quality, it's not quantitative, it's qualitative. So, how do you measure that? Okay, so there are several things that Google may look at. Okay, some of them may be from official statements. Some of them may be from other studies and experiments and testing. Some of them may be implied either by one of the Google representatives in speaking engagements in SEO conferences, or maybe on one of the official Google blogs or videos, or maybe in their webmaster guidelines or their SEO guideline that they have published. So what I'm going to present may come from any of these sources, and it's all pulled into one and kind of just giving you the main thoughts behind it. Okay? So the first thing is, how could Google measure quality content? I would talk about the appearance of your site. So the layout and site architecture, that's one thing. Not only the appearance, but how the navigation is structured, how your pages are related to each other. The second one I'm going to talk about is user behavior. What do people actually do when they look at your site? Third is, Google actually understands the words on your page and how they're related to each other. Okay, and I'll explain why also in that when I reach that bullet point. And there's still manual reviews. If Google feels, oh, we're not perfect, we can't really quantify quality. So we need users to actually help us, and manual reviews does exist. Okay, so let's go to the first one: content layout and site architecture. There's several updates that happened in the past. One of them is the ad. First is this is specifically related to Panda, was the ad to content ratio. Basically, it's looking at how many ads and how much content you have. And if you have too many ads, generally your content's pretty bad. Okay, so there's several related updates to that also. The above the fold update and the page layout update, the second one. And I have the dates also when they were released. Okay, so the main thing here is you want content that serves your users. It makes it easy for them to digest the content that is on the page, and you're not really obstructing them with ads. And aside from that, you're not pushing your main content too low below the fold. For those that are not familiar, below the fold and above the fold simply means above the fold is before you scroll down a page. Okay, that terminology actually came from newspapers when they sell it on the newsstands. Just a trivia, the pages are folded up, and above the fold is the headline that you see before opening the newspaper. To say they use the same terminology online, above the fold is before scrolling down the page in what you see in your monitor. Okay, so we want the main content in that above the fold. Google's trying to analyze that because that is what users want. So what are the possible tools for you to evaluate this when you're working on this? There's the in-page analytics. Aside from that, there's Resize My Browser. It's a website you could visit so that you could easily resize it based on a monitor resolution. So you can see what appears above the fold. Different people may see different things. There's also the Web Developer Toolbar. It's a Firefox or Chrome extension. You could resize your browser to standard monitor screens. Now, I did say, how is Google measuring this? Could Google actually measure this? Just to give you some background of Google, how it worked in the past. In the past, there used to be a site preview image right beside the search results. When you're viewing a search result, in the past, there used to be an arrow on the right side. When you hover your mouse over it or click on it, a snapshot image of your website appears. Okay, so since that's a snapshot image, it's a JPEG already, or it was a PNG. Now, in the PNG, how could Google actually see where the main content is? Still, it was just a saved image. Does Google know where the content is if it's above the fold? Does it actually do these pixel counts? But I recall during that period, Google was able to, even though it's an image, it could highlight where the keyword is located by drawing a square around it. And from that square, it's easy from that point to simply look at the distance, how many pixels it went down. So definitely Google has the capability to see if your content is above the fold or below the fold. And the fact that they came up with these updates is further confirmation that they have the capacity to do that. Okay, so again, we were talking about quality content is more on engagement and also for natural sharing. So this measure does not measure engagement or natural sharing, but if the content pleases the user, it's easy for them to see, then it keeps them more engaged rather than obstructing them with ads. It kind of displeases the users. It may make them leave. Okay? So, second point, thin content. Thin content is almost like there's not much enough content. It does not sufficiently support the main topic of what the page is talking about. The content is not valuable enough for the person. The content is insufficient to serve the user. Okay, so things that we could talk about here. Page consolidation. Sometimes you could have two pages that are almost like the same topic. They target the exact same pages. The person that is reading one page would also be interested in the same page, the other page, because they're almost exactly the same. They're just said differently. Might as well consolidate into one and write it in a better way so that you support that page better. Okay. Now, the other thing is about content siloing. We want to put your content into specific buckets. This also goes into taxonomies. You want related pages to be together. Okay. And that leads into the site architecture as well. This is where you categorize and subcategorize your content. And from there, you come up with your sitemap of what pages are related to each other. So if you would imagine a home page, you have typical pages, a contact us and about us page. You could have a product page, products and services. If you have multiple, you would categorize them, subcategorize them, depending on how many products and services you have, and you have your main product pages. Okay, so the category and the subcategory, that alone kind of helps target the keywords based on what the user intent is. Generally, if someone's searching a more general keyword phrase, it would be higher and closer to the homepage, maybe at the category level or subcategory level. If someone is searching more specific, as in a real product with all the details, then it's mainly targeted to the products page, way deep into that hierarchy. Okay? Although you want to eliminate any cases of duplicate content or cases where pages are too similar, or let's say you have two products. The options are kind of very similar. It's just a change in color. Just put them together in a single page and mention in your product description that it's available in two colors. And you could do the picture preview and the buying option of the color they prefer, but don't separate it as two. I gave color as an example. It could be an example in other options or other features of a specific product. With batteries, without batteries, I don't know. If it's too minuscule of an option where majority of the content would be the same, might as well consolidate it into one. Now, if you have multiple products that are too complicated that they could stand alone and separate them as individual pages, then that is where you separate them and put them into their appropriate buckets, into their appropriate silos or their appropriate categories or appropriate taxonomy, whatever you want to call them. Okay? So this is just one tip. There's a link there. Whenever there's any type of duplicate content, to fix it, you generally want to block redirect or apply a canonical tag from the old page that was a duplicate to the other one. Okay. Another thing is, generally we don't want to go too deep in your structure, in your hierarchy. If it goes too deep, there's a tendency that your navigation gets too deep, your folder structure gets too deep, and it just moves further and further away from the main topic, further away from the homepage, and it may be perceived as less important. So if it's too deep, maybe you're doing your categories too specific. Maybe you would want to consolidate some of them and move it higher within the site structure. Okay. Now, typically a homepage, a website would have other types of pages that are not necessarily selling your product or services. How-to page, manual, support, FAQs, like news and events, industry updates. It's things that you would have on a blog. Now, these types of pages are typically, they're interesting, they're informative, they're link baitable. People, this is where you express something that is very interesting so that people link to it. Now, when people actually talk about it, because the content is good, you engage your audience and you're sharing it to the world and it gets naturally shared, then that is where you also gain more links. It improves ranking overall. And even if people are not linking to your products directly, but linking to these, and they're all on the same domain, it benefits the whole website. Okay, it doesn't matter if people are linking directly to your products. Just make them link to whatever is shared the most, and it would benefit the whole site as well as your products. Okay, so two things we already talked about. One of them was what was the first one? The layout, site architecture, basically the appearance. And when we continued with the site architecture, it was more on folder structures and the hierarchy. Okay, now to continue, user behavior. Okay, so if people are actually clicking on a search result, then it's kind of telling Google this result is really good. Okay, the result helps out, it is useful to the user, then most probably people like it, it's a measure of quality. Bounce back to the SERPs. If people hit the back button, once they visit our website, they hit the back button and they click on the next result, then that is already a sign that the website is not pleasing the audience. Okay, if it's not pleasing the audience, most probably the quality is bad. Okay, Now, in the past, Google had a feature where you could block websites that you don't want to appear in search results. Anyone could do it. Once you hit on a search result and you hit the back button, suddenly there's going to be a message that says, do you want to remove this result, yes or no? And you could hit yes. And Google's browser toolbar also had that feature in the past where you could also block websites that you don't want to appear in search results. Now, Google removed that feature. It no longer appears. But what I believe what was happening is there was a direct correlation of people hitting the back button without doing any type of selection, and people that were hitting the back button and choosing to remove a result had the same behavior. So if you do your correlation analysis, you could almost say that everyone that was agreeing to remove the website by hitting the yes button is almost as if people that just hit the back button and chose a second result had the same intent. So they removed that button, but Google now looks at the people that are actually bouncing back and clicking on a different result. Already consider that as a factor of quality. Another thing, Google Analytics. So I put a question mark there because Google doesn't really say that, the data from Google Analytics is used for the analysis or for the evaluation of quality of content. But there was a time in the past when Google had a message. If you were an old-time Google Analytics user, there was one time wherein they updated the system and it had a phrase, I can't remember the exact words, but it said, do you agree to share the data of your account to Google to improve the quality of our services? It was something something like that. And some people click yes, some people click no. But today it's already like that by default. It's already on by default. It's part of the terms of service. So it says that they're going to use the data to improve their services. What does that tell me? Sounds to me like I'm going to look at your results so that we could fix the search results based on the data that we're seeing. Okay, so just pay attention to that. If the bounce rate is high, if the time on site is low, probably people don't like the pages. People don't like the pages, then Google's finding out, especially if you're using Google Analytics. If you're not using Google Analytics, then Google can't find out through Analytics. Is that a sufficient reason for me to not use Google Analytics? For me, it's fine, because if you're doing everything correctly, then why fear? It may be even better so that Google really sees that you're doing the right thing. Okay, unless you're doing something bad, then it's up to you. Don't use Google Analytics. Next is the Chrome browser. Okay, I put a question mark there because Google doesn't really say that they're using the data from the Chrome browser. But the fact that you could log into the Chrome browser, you could save your bookmarks, and it's tied to a Google account, that data alone, I would use the philosophy of someone, it's a former colleague of mine, his name was Justin Goodman, and he just said something like this. If Google has a large source of data that would help improve their services, do you think they would use it or not to improve their service? Simple question. If I was them, I would use it to improve the service, obviously. So I would assume that was what Google would be doing with the Chrome browser. Now, for backlinks, obviously, if people are linking to it, if they're sharing it, it gains links in other places. And when a website gains links, it's already a testament of the quality of a website. So, I say fixes because sometimes this could be issues if people are bouncing back, if people are not clicking on your page. What could you possibly do? What if you feel the quality of your content is pretty good, but people are bouncing back? Maybe you're not grabbing their attention right away. So here is just a few things that some tips that I want to give. Monitor your Google Webmaster Tools. Look at your click-through rates. If your click-through rates are small, maybe people don't even like clicking on it. And you want those click-through rates to be high. Okay, and if the click-through rates are low, then you might want to look at your title tags and meta descriptions. Aside from using the keywords, make them actually compelling. When people read it, they would want to click on it. Okay, monitor pages with high bounce rates coming from organic search. So look into your Google Analytics or whatever analytics platform you're using. If you have high bounce rates, look at that page and immediately find ways to keep people staying on that page. Okay, now I did mention title tags and meta descriptions. I do have a tip there. It goes to a blog post that I have written talking about emotional triggers. This could help you gain the attention of a user to increase click-through rates. Now, a strong second call to action. What does that mean? If someone lands on a page of your site and the person's intent is not to read the information on that page. Their intent was to see something else. But unfortunately, that was the page that is ranking. Okay? Let's say it's a balance of, let's say I was searching for about an iPhone. Let's say this is my iPhone. Okay? And I was searching of how to clean the screen. As simple as clean the screen. How do I clean the screen of my iPhone? And then let's say you are a second-hand electronics store type of web shop, online shop. And then there was a page that says clean screen, iPhone, good condition, clean screen. And it was ranking for how to clean an iPhone screen. Now, my intent was how to clean, and I landed on a page that was selling the product. That is not my intent. I would hit the back button because it doesn't serve my intent. But if somewhere on that page you had the small link, maybe on the sidebar, somewhere on top above the fold, highly visible, that said, tips on how to clean your iPhone, and it goes to the blog and it gives you more tips there, then you avoid the bounce. You avoid people hitting that back button. So when I say strong second call to action, think of that when people land on your page. What could be the possible intent that is not aligned with what the page is all about? Okay? Whenever you have a product in retail, it could be a buying intent or an intent to find the manual, how to use it, how to what are the features. Maybe people just want to learn more, comparing it with other products. Now, in the other way around, let's say you have a blog post of how to build a tree house, and you're also selling a tree house. Now, your blog post of how to build a treehouse should also have some type of link somewhere of where to buy the product. Because when a person lands on a page for an organic result, their intent may not be aligned with that traffic. And once they hit the back button, then it's almost like a minus point. So to keep them there, think of the reasons how you could keep them to stay on that page. Okay? Now, another thing. Can Google actually understand the content on your page? Because content, if you say it's good quality, how could Google actually read? Does Google understand the words? Does Google understand the sentences? Okay, so let's take a look at this first. Okay, my name. Let's do some ego searching. Search for my name, and it found someone. It's not me. Urban Dictionary. I search for my last name. Some results. Again, it's not me. So what? Google. I'm not high ranking for my name, first name, last name. Now, I tried searching a wrong spelling way how I would write bench with an I, bench, Bisaya, bench, and again, I'm not listed. Okay. Now I tried Arriola with an E instead of an I. Again, I'm not listed. There's other results there. Now let's say I did the wrong spelling for my last name. Suddenly it says, did you mean Benj Arriola? Okay. But there is the use of Arriola with an E. That does exist. and there's the use of Benj with my name. That is not me. But once you put them together, Google starts to find out and connect the dots. Hey, maybe it's really Benj Arriola you're talking about. So I'm going to say, did you mean? As you could see here. Now, some of these are old examples because some of the new ones would show something like this instead of did you mean. So I typed in Benj Arriola without the wrong spelling first name. It says showing results for Benj Arriola. Search instead for Benj Arriola. So Google's so confident that they think that you're looking for Benj Arriola. It did not even ask did you mean. It just knows you're really looking for this person. So this is the primary result that I'm going to show. I did the wrong spelling for both first name and last name. It showed some results. It showed did you mean, and you could kind of pick and choose. Maybe you made a mistake among this. So why am I telling this story? Because if you're going to think of it, every keyword you type in, Google has statistics tied around it. It knows how many times this word is used with this word. Okay? And it not only for those two words, but for all words in all paragraphs all together. Okay? So, when we say, can Google understand content? Maybe not. But it does know what words go with whatever words. And from there, you could even pull in sentences. Depending on how sophisticated your software is, how sophisticated, how powerful it is, you could pull in multiple mathematical computations there and just say, you know, and everything could be probability wise, everything could be statistically, every sentence could be a statistical formula where Google could determine most people use this word in this way in this type of sentence 90% of the time, and 10% that are saying it this way, they don't know what they're talking about. They speak a foreign language, or they're just keyword stuffing and they're a spammer. Okay? So bear that in mind. Google could understand in some way how words are used, how words are related to each other, and how the meanings of these words also connect to each other. Okay? So moving forward, when you talk about the relationship of words, the relevancy, the cohesiveness, the semantics of how one word is used and how it's related to the others, there's actually one company that is basically done by Google, and there's even companies in the past that were specialists at this alone. So aside from Google being able to do that, Google could also analyze individual pages at every level and how they're linked between each other. Okay, now there's words in one page, there's words in another page. But since Google could somewhat understand the words, statistically understand based on their relationship, how pages are linking to each other, kind of, it's pretty much easy from that point to determine if page A is related to page B. Okay, whether internally within your site or externally on another site. So Google could get a better understanding of what your site is all about, or Google could also analyze who are the people linking to you if they're really related to what you're talking about. Now, when it talks about semantics, the main company that was very good in doing that was Applied Semantics. They were so good at it that Google bought their technology in 2004. So they're so good at it, and just bear in mind, it's already there with Google. So when I say fixes, because if you do have these issues wherein you would say you were affected by Panda, Google's thinking your content quality is not good, you decreased in ranking, what would you want to do? So first is you would want to write naturally. Don't really think of the number of words you're using, keyword density or count. Just write on what appears natural, because Google kind of knows what is natural with the whole database of all the words out there. Okay, now how many SEOs are in the world and how many are the ordinary people that are how many normal people are out there, because the SEO people are not the normal people. So the normal people is already a large database of how to write naturally. So if you, an SEO person, kind of writes kind of different, that would stand out in Google. Okay, so if ever you're ranking for a specific type of word and you're also using that type of word, it's also nice to use synonyms and related terms. Google is aware of what words mean and how often they're used in conjunction with other words, so might as well use synonyms and related words. It might also helps you. It does not only help solidify the true meaning of the word that you're talking about, but it also helps you rank for the other meanings. Okay, the only people that worry about keyword density, keyword count, number of words, and whatever are usually the ones that are bloggers, scrapers, content spinners, and people like that. People that are trying to fake natural writing are these types of people. Now, could you get away with that with a content spinner? It really depends. There are some people that can, but it's just way better on the safe side to not use them, because just bear in mind you still want to please the audience. It's not about putting so much content out there. Content these days is, there's a old way of doing content, wherein people write so many articles, spin it so you have multiple versions, put them in article distribution sites just to get many links from other places. But since that content is not really good content, nobody engages in them, it doesn't gain links naturally, then it's not good. We did talk about manual reviews. This was the fourth item that I had on how Google is measuring quality content, is people are actually looking at it. Okay, so if ranking goes down in its algorithm change, then it's not really a penalty, but it feels like one because your ranking went down when the algorithm came out. But that doesn't mean Google said, I'm going to penalize you. Google just said, I'm going to improve the search results, and as an effect of it, yours went down because probably your site didn't deserve to be on top based on the algorithm change. Now, if it's a manual review, it's definitely a penalty. Someone saw it, I'm going to put you down, or I'm going to take you out the results. Okay? They found some type of fault that you're going against. So always check your webmaster tools, because sometimes the manual penalties are stated there if you do get one. If an algorithm change came out and you're affected by it, then once it propagates, then you'll be hit. Now, if you get a penalty, you may not get a penalty from Google if you're doing something bad, unless someone finds out. Okay? Now, how do people find out? People actually submit them sometimes. Okay, so what happens if you submit a spam report? Basically, Google may visit the offending site of what was submitted in the spam report, and when the reviewers say, oh, this should have been banned, this should have been penalized and whatnot, and if they get multiple requests that are like that, and Google doesn't seem to Google Panda doesn't seem to catch it, then that's why there's more Google Panda updates in the future, or that come out in a regular basis. Now, for the manual review, when you submit a spam report, it's going to be added to the manual reviewer's queue of lists of sites to look at, and basically there's going to be a list of users that are going to judge it from 0 to 5 or 1 to 5 to say, or 1 to 10, I can't remember the exact number, if the site is good quality or not. It has to be consistent among reviewers. Once there's one reviewer that thinks it's a good quality site while the rest say it's bad, then there's that deliberation that's going to happen if a website deserves to get a penalty or not. If you submit a re-inclusion request, what happens if you were affected by a Panda update or Penguin update or some algorithm change? Google will say, we can't do anything because we did not penalize you. You were just affected by the algorithm. But if you submit a re-inclusion request and you're penalized, then Google will actually give you guidelines of what to do next. And you basically have to work on it. There's several forms here, there's links and so on, and you could look at that later when you see the presentation online. Now, quality content gets quality links. So I did explain the 4 things. First is I did explain how Google looks at good quality content, and I explained the 4 things that Google's actually looking at or could look at to check if it's good quality. The layout, site architecture. We talked about user behavior. And we talked about Google understanding the actual content by the relationship of the words. And we talked about manual reviewers. Now, when we talk about these good quality content, they generally get good quality links. And good quality links are natural links, people that share your content naturally. So, and once you get those links, it goes back as a testament that the content is really good. Okay? So, if the content is really good, could you fake it by just hammering links to it? Okay? And this is, if you put more links to it, then Google might think, oh, this is good quality content. It gets lots of links. But your links really have to be good quality, meaning they're relevant. And aside from that, they should be natural and not artificial. So how could Google be measuring that? These slides, the following slides after this, came from another presentation. All my slides came from other presentations I did in the past. And this one specifically, the next slide, this one, and the next slides came from my presentation at SEMCon in 2010. And these sets of following slides came before the Panda update came out and came before the Penguin update came out. And this was already the linking philosophy that I wanted to push out when I was presenting this. Okay, so maybe some of you already know this, some of you may not, but the speed of links, how you gain them over time, you want them to be gradually increasing. You don't want it to be super fast. Because if it goes too fast, it is a sign wherein you had a sudden burst of links. Most probably it's unnatural. You have a link network. Let's say that sudden burst in red, it goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down. Could be a sign wherein you're paying for links. You have a partner, you have a blog network, or you do a massive submission into multiple places. So the speed of it alone is already an indicator how natural your links are coming in. Now, if it's gradual increasing, then that is typically natural. It's always a good sign. Now, what if it's kind of old, it's gradual, and then you have sudden bursts in the future? That is somewhat acceptable because when you're an established company, let's say, and then you did a massive campaign with a TV commercial, for example, and then suddenly you may get tons of links because of the TV commercial was funny and everyone was talking about it. So as long as that initial phase is somewhat gradual, then that is the important part. It has to be that gradual part in the beginning and not those sudden bursts. Those are typically signs that someone's buying links. Now, what if your website was just so popular that you get 10,000 links at the very beginning? Is that a red flag? It's actually not. If you could maintain that high level, because if it continues to be high day after day, then it's really a sign that you're doing something so popular, people are just linking to it every day. Okay? So that was the first thing on the speed of acquisition of links. You want it to be more natural. You don't want to go too fast. PageRank distribution. This is somewhat obsolete already, and Google's no longer updating their PageRank. It has been, I think it's already their 11th month. Google updates PageRanks every 3 to 4 months. So updates happen every 3 to 4 times a year. It's already near the 11th month. Google hasn't updated PageRank, and John Mueller is it Mueller, from Google has already expressed that they may not update the PageRank bar anymore. So yeah, probably it's one reason to not look at PageRank anymore, but this is applicable to any type of quality metric. You could even use MOZ authority, domain authority, or page authority, and think of it in the same way. Okay? Normally, when people link to a certain website, you're going to get somewhat of a combination of high PR links and low PR links. Typically, the low PR links or the low quality links would be higher. The high quality links would be smaller. Okay? It's just a normal distribution where the low quality links are the most and the high quality links are the least. That's why I put a pyramid in there. Okay? Now, what happens if all your links are low quality? You have 50,000 links or 100,000 links, 200,000 links, and they increase and increase over time, and they're all low quality. What does that mean? You could be a spammer. Maybe you're using some type of automated tool. You're submitting here, submitting there. If you have so many links, there should be at least one person that thinks it's really good quality content, an authoritative person. You already reached that level of popularity where people are linking to you. Then you might be saying something good. Then authoritative people must be linking to you. And the fact that they're all low, then it looks like a spammer. But what if it's the other way around? They're all high quality links. Okay? If they're all high, then it must be you really have something good. But even the best quality websites out there or the highest PR, let's say Adobe has PR 10, do you think they have bad links? They actually do, and they have more bad links than good. Okay? So if it's all good, then most probably you're a buyer, or you have a link network, or you have some type of partnership or whatever. It's still important to have that distribution where the high PR are the least, the low PR are the most. Okay? Diversity is important. Now, maybe some of you already know this. It's a pretty common topic these days, is anchor text diversity. Now, typically people would link to you using your brand. Okay, even before people were talking about this, I just want to remind them, this is a slide I used in 2010 before Panda, before Penguin actually came out. But your anchor text should be branded. People should use your brand more because that's how people would normally link to you. And your keyword focused text is the ones that are the least ones because that's how people actually use it. That's how people would normally link to someone. They wouldn't use a keyword in the anchor text, they would just use the brand. Okay? Now, if there's a specific keyword that you're targeting where the amount of links is so high, then that raises a red flag. It looks like artificial link building. It looks like people you paid, articles you distributed. It doesn't look like it's a testament of quality from someone that wanted to link to you. It just looks like you were linking to yourself in some type of way. Okay. Of course, we want to diversify the anchor text and always bear in mind that the branded one should be the most. IP addresses is more from a link network standpoint. People could basically set up servers with multiple IP addresses or the same IP address and have multiple domains on it and put up their own blogs, create their own blog network, and basically link to their own site. Okay, that is very easy to detect just by looking at IP addresses. If they're all coming from the same place and it looks fishy, then Google may consider penalizing you for running some type of link farm or link network. Now, this is the exact same example, but more for Class C IPs. When I say Class C, basically in your IPv4 or version 4 of your IP addresses, where you have 4 sets of numbers separated by a dot that are 3 digits each. Class C is basically up the third set of numbers. If those are the same and only the last one is changing, most probably they're also on the same server. Okay? So again, we want to have that IP address diversity, and you could gain that by getting links naturally. Come up with great content. People will link to it naturally, and IP address would be all over the place, and not only from yours. And if it all comes from yours, then Google could figure that out. So other link quality factors, there are many things Google could look at. You know, there's PageRank, as I mentioned. And when I say PageRank is going to disappear in the toolbar, that doesn't mean PageRank actually disappears. Google will always use PageRank. They just won't tell you what the PageRank is. and PageRank actually updates every day, even in the past. But the toolbar updates 3 to 4 months. Okay, so PageRank is really there. And once they remove it, it's still there. They just won't tell you. Okay, so aside from the anchor text, we look at the surrounding text, text of the title tag, text on the page, age of the page, age of the domain, age of the link, people that are linking to you. If the link is very old, then it becomes more authoritative. You know, it doesn't show signs that it was actually rented because it lasted so many years. Okay, so site-wide links versus content links. Generally, content links are better than site-wide. Site-wide that appears on a footer or on a sidebar do not appear as having content that really supports the link. If you have a link within content, you know that the person that wrote that content is specifically talking about that page, and it would come up with the relationship of the words on that link to the page that it's going to. Adjacent links, if you have too many of them and they're all unrelated, then that is a bad sign. Often links that are bought or rented on a sidebar would be beside other links that are bought and rented. And most of the time, the links are not related to each other. That is already a sign that the link could be paid or is through some type of manipulative type of partnership. Backlinks of the backlinks, the neighborhood. If the site linking to you has bad links going to them, or the links are totally irrelevant and not related to you, or it comes up with bad links coming from bad neighborhoods, let's say adult, casino, pharmaceutical, then that also affects your ranking negatively. TLD and ccTLD, if you are targeting specific countries, the country code top level domain and the links coming from those types of ccTLDs would help out in your ranking, and that goes hand in hand with geolocation. If the server of the hosting account is located in some other country and you're targeting traffic for that country and you want to rank well for that country, then that also helps. Diversity in website types, blogs, forums, articles, and so on. If all your links are coming from blogs alone, or if all your links are coming from forums alone, or all your links are coming from directories alone, all of those sound fishy. The best ones are people that are actually talking about you. Those could be blogs, but at least they're coming from different people, different sources, and not coming from all these old version types of links. Okay, now when we talked about links, we were relating it to the quality of your page. People linking to you naturally is a testament that your quality of content is really good. Now, to measure if it's really a good quality link, could we look at that? So quantitative wise, there's many tools that could give you how many links you have. Google Webmaster Tools, Bing Webmaster Tools, doing the link command, Majestic, Open Site Explorer, SMEs, and so on. Now, if you're going to look at the quality of a link, there's several things you could look at. Backlink of the backlink, PageRank, how many backlinks a domain has, is it keyword focus, there's Majestic, follow or no follow, hosting country, and so on. Now, if you look at the quality in another way, how trustable it is, and not how strong it is, there's other factors that you could look at, like SEMO's page authority, domain authority, IP diversity, and so on. Now, the quantity metrics, usually in the search engines and their tools, they give limited numbers, while the ones that are in these other tools are more comprehensive. The cutoff there is wrong. Majestic should be in that green area. Kind of made a mistake in the animation there. Okay, now for the quality, we have I'm a fan of linked research tools, and that is why I like looking at the Semper Power. Semper Power kind of comes up with its own algorithm to consider everything on the power metrics, and on the trust metrics, put it all together and put it into Semper Trust. Now again, the animation, that is a little bit low. Trust rank should be in that orange part over there. Now, combining it together is the Power Trust. Again, this is from Link Research Tools. Now, if you're going to look at that and look at links that have good power and good trust, put them together and you have strong Power Trust. These are actually very good links. Now, if we're going to put this in a 2x2 matrix where we're comparing power and trust, links that have good power and good trust are definitely links we want to have. We want to get links from. Now, if the power is low but they are trustworthy sites, then generally they're still good links. Okay, because you know that they're trustable. But if the trust is low and the power is high, sounds like this is manipulated page rank. Things that seem to be powerful, but they're not really trustworthy. They're showing some signs that you're part of a linked network or something. Now, if both are low, it's common sense. You want to avoid them because they could hurt you. Okay? So if I want to sum things up, content quality is really about engagement and natural sharing. We want people to share your content. You want them to interact with you. We want people to read your content, they really like it, and when they like it, they share it naturally. Okay? Content quality gets good quality natural links. So if the content quality is good, sometimes you don't even have to worry that much with the link building because the link building comes in. What is my objective when I did this presentation? To not resort to spammy, outdated methods. You know, there's still some people on the Facebook SEO Organization Philippines group that simply ask, you know, what is a good article submission software? Where do I submit my articles? Where do I post them? What is a good content spinning software or something? Or what directories do you submit my articles to so that I could get multiple links? That is the thinking you should already take away from on how you do SEO these days. Okay? And why do I want to do this? Because I want to clean up the industry. I want to help make that happen. Because if people perceive whenever we outsource something to the Philippines that, oh, it's going to be spammy because of this and that, my experience is bad, blah, blah, blah. I want to avoid that type of thinking. Okay? So, as much as possible, do not resort to spammy, outdated methods. Now, how do you do it the right way? If you've been doing it for 5 years or 10 years, the spammy way, and you need to learn how to do it the right way. Well, there's multiple speakers at this event. Pay attention to them. Some of them will be speaking more about this, so pay good attention there. And my tip also is do not necessarily believe anyone. Okay? Now, aside from the speakers, sometimes people could also learn from other people. That is the beauty of attending a conference. Just by whoever you're eating lunch with, talking around with during the break, sleeping with in the room, whatever. You could always share SEO stories. Now, I'm not saying that some people may be lying to you or saying something else, but everyone is just basing their stories on their own personal experiences. And their own personal experiences are based on their own personal websites or the websites they're working on. And when the website they're working on can be in different industries, some industries are spammier than others. Some industries are easier than others. Some industries it's easy to rank so high, some it's hard to rank so high. So if someone says, I just did this, oh, I just submitted it to 5,000 directories and I was number one. Now, if you think of that, that could also be an industry where all the competitors are doing it as well, so all of them are bad. But Google just has to choose the better one and still put it as whoever's on top. Or it could be it's a very niche industry that no one else talks about it. Even if they do spammy things, they're still number one because there's no one to compete about for that specific keyword. So it's really a case-to-case basis. Whatever someone experiences and they say it works or not, it really depends. It may work for them, but that doesn't mean it may work for you. So try to understand the situation well. Try to understand what industry they're in, what the nature of what they're talking about, and think about it deeply. Does that really apply to me? Is the factors exactly the same? Because sometimes it may not really apply. Okay? So thanks. Sorry I made this last minute. I like using examples. I like showing screenshots. I was not able to add them in. Hopefully this is sufficient. I know that this is not live. This is pre-recorded. But if you have any questions about my presentation or about anything in SEO in general, simply tweet me at Benj Arriola. Use the hashtag MORCon2014 so that I know that your question is related to the conference and related to my presentation. I'll be trying to reply as soon as possible. I have Twitter on my phone. I have Twitter on my computer, on the go. Even if I'm out with my kids on the weekend, if I see something in there that I could simply reply to. And besides, I only have 140 characters to reply, so it may be a quick reply. Okay? So thank you very much. Pasensya na po, hindi ako nag-Tagalog at puro English ang ginamit ko. Kasi gusto ko magamit yung video para sa pag nag-promote ako online, pwede kong gamitin yung video, lagay sa vlog namin, hindi magre-reklamo ang IMI na gumagawa akong video na hindi sila magbe-benefit. So, ginawa akong English para magamit ko, malagay ko sa website. Okay? Kamusta kayong lahat dyan? Namimiss ko na mag-speak para sa MORCon. Ang last ko was, kalimutan ko na kung kailan, sa Bataan pa. Ayun, naalala ko pa yung yung umakyat pa tayo sa cross. So, tsaka dun sa resort, nag-swimming pa the next day. So, ayun, masaya nun. Tapos yung nung gabi, nagpunta pa ng, alam mo na. Okay, so good. I'm gonna expect your tweets. And next time, 2015, nasa Pinas ako, more for a high school reunion ng mga bandang May. Maybe we could come up with an event and see each other. Okay? Salamat. Salamat. See you soon. I miss you. I love you. Okay, recording has started. I am in close-up. I shall move a bit back so that I could put my presentation together as one. I'll put myself by the corner of the presentation. Move a little bit here. See the line on my wall. Move a little bit here. No, I'll move a little bit here. Oh, and then you see my door. Then I'll close my door. There. So I should be standing by here. I move my trash can. I move my bag. And I should be standing somewhere here. Here. And I'll put my notebook right in front where I stand para may palatandaan ako. Okay. Then I'll turn my laptop so I could see. I could see myself. There. And look! A penguin! Oh, look! A panda! Hi penguin, hi panda. Oh, they're making out. Okay, let's just go straight. Okay. In 3, 2, 1.